Difficult week for the Prime Minister. So let's start with something simple. Can the Prime Minister tell the House how much his welfare bill is going to save? In the middle of the debate, removing Clause 5, where on earth was he? The reason why he can't answer the question is because he knows it doesn't save any money, it's going to cost millions. This is the first Prime Minister in history to propose a bill to save money who ended up with a bill which costs money. So if the bill doesn't cut welfare spending, can the Prime Minister tell the House how many people it will get into work?
Well, watch how Kemi Badenoch absolutely demolishes Keir Starmer in this PMQs bloodbath. Labour exposed, U-turns flying, chaos unleashed.
Difficult week for the Prime Minister. So let's start with something simple. Can the Prime Minister tell the House how much his welfare bill is going to save?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, let me start by saying free school matters on this side of the House. Mr. Speaker, in relation to welfare, what we delivered last night was a bill which ends mandatory reassessment of those with severe disabilities. That is the right thing to do. It rebalances universal credit. That is long overdue, and it sets out a pathway to reform of PIP. Mr. Speaker, it's consistent with the principles I set out throughout. If you can work, you should work. If you need help into work, the state should provide the help. The system that they broke doesn't do so. And if you can't work...
I think there's one or two I can spot immediately. Usual voices, same names, please. It's too early to leave the chamber. Prime Minister.
And, Mr. Speaker, if you can't work, you must be supported and protected. The reformed welfare system that we're putting in place will be better for individuals, better for the taxpayer and better for the economy.
Kemi Badenoch.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think the Prime Minister actually watched what happened in the House yesterday. His bill was completely gutted. A U-turn in the middle of the debate, removing Clause 5. Where on earth was he? The reason why he can't answer the question is because he knows it doesn't save any money, it's going to cost millions. This is the first Prime Minister in history to propose a bill to save money who ended up with a bill which costs money. So if the bill doesn't cut welfare spending, can the Prime Minister tell the House how many people it will get into work?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm glad she asked that because it gives me the opportunity to say we've already started changing the job centres and investing in support back into work. The Trailblazer scheme, which is doing exactly what she asked me, which is getting people back into work. The bill last night will help people back into work, and of course the Timms review is ongoing. But I tell you what won't help people back into work, won't help control the costs, and that is voting to keep the broken system. And that is what they did last night. Everybody in this House accepts that the current system is broken. It invites the question, who broke it? They broke it. And last night, they voted for the status quo. The broken system is their policy. That won't help individuals, taxpayer, and it certainly won't help the economy.
Mr. Speaker, I'll tell him what we did on welfare. Yes, they can laugh. While they're laughing, they don't know. My party delivered the biggest reform of welfare in government. We got record numbers of people into work, including millions of disabled people, and we cut the deficit every year until COVID. The fact is, we're not scared of doing difficult things on this side of the House. We got people back into work. What he forgets is that since the election, since he became Prime Minister, an additional 1,000 people a day are signing on to incapacity benefits. That is 50% more than under us. 50% more than under us. And, Mr. Speaker, astonishingly, because of the mess they made yesterday, because there are no more savings, sickness benefits alone are set to rise to £100 billion on his watch. He cannot reduce that now.
Order. Mr McKee, I think we've had a run-in before. I certainly don't want any more. Seriously. You're obviously not getting your timing right because I can hear your voice every time.
I'll start again, Mr. Speaker. Start again. Sickness benefits Louder for those at the back. Sickness benefits are set to rise to £100 billion because of their mess. They cannot now reduce it. They can't reduce it because after last night's humiliating U-turn, we know he cannot control his MPs. They're cheering now, but you signed the amendment. You signed the amendment. Over 100 people signed that reasoned amendment until the bill was completely gutted. He said that he would take the difficult decisions, but isn't the reality that he is too weak to get anything done?
Mr. Speaker, I'll tell them what they did to the welfare system. They broke it. And it's the same as the NHS. What did they do? They broke it. Same as the economy. What did they do? They broke it. They broke everything that they touched. And now she describes the broken system that we are trying to fix. What did she do? She voted against fixing the system that they broke. And I'll tell you, Mr. Speaker, and spell that out, they voted last night for the system that is keeping 1 million young people not learning or earning. That is a disgrace of their system. They voted for a system where we have 3 million people out of work on ill health, and they voted for that system. We're fixing it. We're clearing up the mess that they left, just like we're clearing up the NHS and the economy.
He's got some brass neck. Has he read the papers this morning? Has he read the papers this morning? That bill will achieve nothing. It is a pointless waste of time and is absolute proof that he doesn't have a plan. Let me tell the House what's going to happen. In November, the Chancellor is going to put up our taxes to pay for his incompetence. We on this side of the House know that you can't tax your way to growth. But people out there are frightened. People out there... Yes. These are the same people who cheered when they talked about the NI rise and the jobs tax. Why are they complaining now? People out there are frightened. Can he, Mr. Speaker, can he reassure them by ruling out tax rises in the autumn budget?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, she knows that no Prime Minister or Chancellor ever stands at the dispatch box and writes budgets in the future. That isn't what they did, it isn't what we did. And she knows it. But she talks about growth. For 14 years, we had stagnation, and that is what caused the problems. And I'm really pleased, Mr. Speaker, to show the progress that we're making. I can update the House. Last week, Amazon put in £40 billion of investment into this country, one of the biggest investments of its time. That brought the inward investment to £120 billion in the first year of this Labour government. Mr. Speaker, I can also tell the House that business confidence is the highest for 9 years. That's longer than the whole time that the leading opposition's been in Parliament. And the figures this week demonstrated and showed we had the fastest growth in the G7 in the first quarter of this year. What a difference to the mess they left. That's the difference a Labour government made.
Mr. Speaker, he talks about jobs. Unemployment has risen every month since Labour took office. Has he spoken to Nissan, by the way, and looked at what's happening there? This man has forgotten that his welfare bill was there to plug a black hole created by the Chancellor. Instead, they're creating new ones. They're creating new ones. She looks... Mr. Speaker, she's pointing at me. She looks absolutely miserable. Labour MPs, yeah, she looks absolutely miserable. Labour MPs, they can point as much as they like. The fact is, Labour MPs are going on the record saying that the Chancellor is toast, and the reality is that she is a human shield for his incompetence. In January, he said that she would be in post till the next election. Will she really?
Prime Minister.
Well, she certainly won't. Mr. Speaker, I have to say I'm always cheered up when she asks me questions or responds to a statement, because she always makes a complete mess of it and shows just how unserious and irrelevant they are. But she talks about the black hole. They left a £22 billion black hole in our economy, and we're clearing it up. And I'm really proud, Mr. Speaker, that in the first year of a Labour government we got free school meals, breakfast clubs, childcare. Got £15 billion invested in transport in the North and the Midlands. With cutting regulation, planning and infrastructure is pounding forward, building 1.5 million homes, the biggest investment in social and affordable housing. And, of course, Mr. Speaker, the 3 trade deals. Remember the ones that they couldn't get, including the US trade deal. On Monday, those tariffs came down. That secured the jobs at JLR. That's who we care about on this side of the House.
How awful for the Chancellor that he couldn't confirm that she would stay in place. Yeah. He talks about this year in office. This week marks the first anniversary of Labour coming into office. And let's have it. Yes. The whips can't get them in the lobbies, but they can get them to chair at the right time. Yeah. The fact is, his own MPs are saying this government is, and I quote, incoherent and shambolic. That's Liverpool Wavertree that said that. I could go on and on. But the fact is, it's been mistake after mistake after mistake. There is no plan to get people into work. There is no plan to cut the welfare budget. There is no strategy. There is just a series of humiliating U-turns like winter fuel, like grooming gangs. Mr. Speaker, what's really shocking is that every other party in this House voted for even more welfare spending yesterday. Yes, those MPs behind him and the Lib Dems and Reform. The Conservative Party believes that this country needs to live within its means. We know what we believe, Mr. Speaker, but this is a Prime Minister who has U-turned on everything he's done in office, including his own speeches, because he doesn't know what he believes. With left-wing Labour MPs now running the government, isn't it working people who will now pay the price?
Mr. Speaker.
Now that you've seen that absolute car crash, did you catch how Labour's entire front bench looked like they'd just been caught raiding the cookie jar? Kemi Badenoch didn't just ask questions. She lobbed grenades straight into Keir Starmer's lap, and the Prime Minister's dodging like a dad at a school sports day. This wasn't PMQs. It was a public execution of Labour's welfare wet dream, live on the telly. And here's the kicker. Starmer's team thought they could waltz in with their bold reforms spiel, but Badenoch stripped it bare, exposing the rotting core of this government's incompetence. Labour's not just rattled, they're radioactive, leaking excuses faster than a sieve. Welcome back to the channel where we cut through the spin and serve up the roast Labour deserves. If you missed the clip earlier, smash that rewind button, but stick around because we're diving deep into why this moment is the nail in the coffin for Starmer's so-called plan for change. Buckle up. It's time to expose the chaos. Let's rewind the tape on Labour's welfare circus, shall we? Just hours ago, yes, this week in the hallowed halls of Parliament, Starmer's crew rammed through what they billed as their magic wand for the benefits bonanza. Remember the pre-election promises? We'll get Britain working again, they bellowed from every soapbox while conveniently ignoring the black hole they inherited. Or did they create it? Spoiler, this government's been in power for over a year now and incapacity claims are skyrocketing like ticket prices at a Taylor Swift gig. Flashback to yesterday's debate meltdown. Labour MPs revolted faster than rats off a sinking ship, forcing a humiliating climb down on key clauses. Why? Because their own backbench Bolsheviks couldn't stomach actual cuts to the sacred cow of sickness payouts. This isn't new. It's pattern recognition. Think winter fuel payments U-turn, grooming gangs inquiry dodge, and that NI jobs tax hike they swore was for working people, but hit employers like a sledgehammer. Polling this month from YouGov shows Labour's trust rating on the economy in freefall down to 28%, with Reform UK nipping at their heels. Downing Street spin doctors are in overdrive, whispering about leadership tensions between Starmer and his Chancellor sidekick, who's rumoured to be on borrowed time. And don't get me started on the context, Badenoch hammered home without mercy. Labour inherited a system that we reformed. Record employment highs, deficit tamed, but they've turbocharged the welfare warehouse. 1,000 extra sign-ups a day on incapacity? That's not a glitch, that's their legacy. While ordinary Britons queue at food banks, Starmer's elite echo chamber cheers on £100 billion sickness bills. They hoped you'd ignore the papers screaming U-turn shambles this morning. Headlines from the Telegraph to the Mail laying bare the Emperor's new clothes. But Badenoch made sure Parliament and you couldn't look away. Oh, the irony is thicker than Starmer's Northern powerhouse accent. Picture this. A party that spent 14 years screeching, Tory cuts kill, now peddling a welfare bill that costs millions instead of saving a penny. It's like promising to diet, then ordering the whole dessert menu. Badenoch nailed it. Labour's too weak to whip their own MPs into line, signing amendments like desperate groupies at a backstage pass rush. Cheering 1 minute, gutting their own bill the next. That's not governance. That's a GCSE group project gone rogue. Let's roast the contradictions, shall we? Starmer bangs on about getting people back to work, yet unemployment ticks up monthly under his watch. Nissan whispering threats of factory closures? Labour's response, crickets. Meanwhile, they're bragging about Amazon's £40 billion splash. Newsflash, mate, that's despite you, not because of you. Business confidence at a 9-year high. Try telling that to the small firms crushed by your employer NI raid, the one you lot applauded like it was Glastonbury headliners. Hypocrisy level expert, these are the same Labour lovies who mocked our welfare reforms as cruel. Yet now they're the ones bloating the bill to biblical proportions. Elites versus the rest of us? Spot on. Starmer jets off to international schmoozes, preaching growth while his MPs plot coups from the tea rooms. Metaphor time. Labour's like that uncle at Christmas who promises to fix the turkey but serves up charred regret. Everyone's hungry, but he's too busy blaming the oven and the brass neck on display, calling us breakers of systems while their own implodes. Pathetic. Badenoch owned the chamber with facts that stung like vinegar in a paper cut. Labour's laughing it off. That's the sound of a party, one scandal away from implosion. This isn't comedy. It's tragedy for taxpayers footing the £100 billion sickness tab. Zoom out, folks. This PMQs wasn't a one-off zinger. It's the tipping point in Labour's credibility collapse. Party unity fractured like a dropped iPhone screen. Over 100 MPs signing rebel amendments. That's not dissent, that's civil war brewing in the tea rooms. Voter trust. Polls from Ipsos this week show 56% of Brits think Labour's handling of the economy is poor, up 10 points since summer. With local elections looming and that autumn budget horror show on the horizon, Starmer's staring down a tax rise bloodbath to plug holes. His U-turns just widened. Consequences hit hard. No welfare savings means no fiscal headroom. Sickness benefits exploding to £100 billion. That's your council tax hikes, your NHS waiting lists lengthening, your pensioners freezing without winter fuel. Labour's plan evaporated in one debate. Now they're cornered, promising job centre tweaks while the Trailblazer scheme gathers dust. Upcoming battles? Expect Reform and Lib Dems to feast on this carcass, poaching working-class votes with promises of real cuts. Starmer's authority? Shredded. He's not leading. He's herding cats on ketamine. And leadership whispers? The Chancellor's toast, say Labour MPs leaking to Guido Fawkes. Starmer's human shield gambit failed. Badenoch called his bluff and now the backbenches smell blood. This moment ripples to every policy fight ahead. No control. Today means no wins tomorrow. Social media's on fire. Attacked Starmer U-turn. Trending with 250,000 mentions since yesterday. Memes of Keir as a marionette with snapped strings going viral on X. TikTok's roasting harder than a vindaloo, with Gen Z creators dubbing it welfare wankers PMQs. Traditional media. The Times front page. Starmer's bill of failures. BBC's trying to softball it as debate drama, but even their pundits admit Labour looks disarrayed. Party infighting spilling out. Liverpool's own Labour MP calling the government incoherent and shambolic on Sky News this morning. Reform UK's piling on. Nigel Farage tweeting, Kemi for PM, Labour's finished. Tories? United front, with Badenoch emerging as the opposition's attack dog supreme. International observers. Bloomberg's calling it UK governance gridlock, spooking investors already jittery over Nissan's woes. Protests brewing too, taxpayer groups rallying outside Parliament tomorrow, chanting no more waste. Public reactions brutal. Focus groups from More in Common show working Brits feel betrayed, with approval ratings cratering in red wall seats. This fallout's not contained. It's a 5-alarm blaze. This is no isolated blip. It's the thread unravelling Labour's entire fairy tale, from mission-driven government to U-turn central, winter fuel flip, grooming gangs fudge, now welfare wreckage. They've lost the moral high ground, authority evaporating faster than their poll leads. Control. What control? Starmer's whips can't corral a debate, let alone a nation. Out of touch, they're in another postcode, preaching growth while stagnation stalks the high street. Patterns crystal, promise big, deliver squat, blame the Tories. But voters aren't daft. They see the emperor prancing naked, narrative collapse complete. From saviours to suspects, Labour's grip slipping into farce. Out of touch doesn't cover it. Labour's panicking, exposed, flailing like a fish on dry land. Starmer's brass neck snapped under Badenoch's boot. His MP's cheers masked the screams of a party imploding. This government's not reforming welfare. They're reforming excuses. Ordinary Britons pay the price. Higher taxes, longer dole queues, broken promises. Kemi Badenoch didn't just win PMQs. She lit the fuse on Labour's bonfire of vanities. They're done. Rattled, rejected and running scared. In the end, this PMQs wasn't about one bill. It was Labour's confession of chaos, weakness and epic fail. Kemi Badenoch exposed them for what they are. A shower of shambles presiding over decline. Are you buying Starmer's spin anymore? Ready to see real change or stuck with more U-turns? Will Labour survive the year? Drop your hottest takes in the comments. Did Badenoch destroy them? Smash like if you're Team Roast, share this to every mate fuming about taxes and subscribe for weekly takedowns of Labour's latest flops. Hit the bell. We're just getting started. Cheers.